And we're live.
One final curiosity within this section is the foreboding portion. A man that is a true magician is brought forth a magician from his mother's womb. Others who give themselves to this office are unhappy. Precisely what this means is unclear. It might indicate the need to be a natural psychic or scribe. It may simply refer to that strange and immovable pull towards the mystical that all true practitioners feel. But taken at face value, it would seem to suggest that one must be born a natural magician in order to work with these spirits.
All right. Hope you good looking, sexy people are doing well this morning.
The magic dealing with the Greek mythological world.
Just wanted to go live to say hi. I had a stand here, now I'm missing it. I'll have to improvise. There we are. Give me 1 minute, I'll be right back.
They are in contrast to the celestial spirits of the planet, and there we serve hope. Due to the undeniable passion of Christianity before us, it is difficult to know whether the pagan earth spirits that would be treated in this book are actually evil.
Alrighty, there I am. Thought I'd grab myself the last of my cup of coffee and a COVID killer. Got to make sure you continue to ward off the evil, invisible terrorists that are being put forth by the cabal, the assholes and idiots. How's everyone doing out in Happy Land this morning? Good morning to you. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. We are in the studio at Beijing, China. Today it is hot, and I think it's not too smoggy. Let me check. Yeah, looks smoggy. Looks like they turned the factories back on. Pump up the pollution. That's all right. I've got a solution for that. I will add some positive tobacco smoke of Mars. I had a good friend in the past here in Beijing. You know, you only have a handful of friends throughout the course of your life at any given stage in life. And I've been here 2 decades, and I've had 3 guys that I would consider close friends. So at each 5, 6 year, 7 year stage in my life, I've had 1 close friend. Whew, right now I got none. So that's something. But I got my children and my wife, so that's, the man who follows the path of the family man doesn't necessarily have. My father told me, at the end of your life, you'd be able to count your true friends on one hand. So I've had more than one hand worth of true friends, I think. But I don't know, maybe there was some wisdom in his words, because you don't always know who's acting as a friend and who's acting as a parasitic entity, someone trying to advance their own career based on your labors, your efforts, taking advantage of you, so to speak. But yeah, I've had at least a handful. I guess that means I'm at the end of my life. Motherfucker. No. I hope that I have more in the future again. So anyway, that dear friend told me, he said, if you're gonna smoke, and I know you are, he was a smoker at one time, but he had quit. Master of hypnosis, thoroughly versed in the subject. autodidactic in that sense. But anyway, he said be mindful of it. You know, each time, be aware of what you're doing. You know, look at your lighter. Be mindful of that. Don't just do things autonomously, like an automaton. You know, think about it. Look at the cigarette. Think about what it is, what it does to you, what it represents. Just look at the thing, the filter, you know, the seam line, the paper, the tobacco. You know, check it, see what's in there. You never know what they put in there. Might be, they might be throwing wacky tobacco in there. So check it out before you light it. Think about the feeling of sticking it in your mouth and lighting it. Think about each step of the thing when you do it. And you'll realize if you do it that way, it takes so long to get a cigarette lit that you might just quit, you know. You might just fall into the moment and never come back to the course of worry that everybody else does about the future and the past. You may forget about that. You never escape the moment. So I do that. Each cigarette in the morning, the first one I have, I will definitely contemplate it, and I'm down to 4 or 5 a day. You know, I'm not a heavy smoker anymore like I used to be. But the damage is done. There's no going back from that. You know. So, I mean, our pollution levels in Beijing are such that they say, you know, that there were years here, certain aeons, when just the air quality alone was the equivalent of several packs a day. And so if you're smoking a half a pack on top of that, you weren't really doing much more damage than the natural environment was over. Not natural environment, but the environment of industrial manufacturing was already doing to you. Number one bad guys here in the north are iron smelting and manufacturing of ceramics. So those are deadly industries. So there you go, get the COVID killer fired up. Everyone's still in the rack. They're in bed, they're hiding, but my voice will typically, I've already cooked and prepared breakfast, cleaned the kitchen, done all that, and worked on some art. So here's what I've been working. I figured I'd tune in with y'all, you know, finish off my coffee, have a COVID killer, and then get busy with the rest of my day. But here's what I was working on this morning. It is a gouache on just regular paper. I think you're supposed to do gouache on like some kind of thin wood board, but I'm just in my practicing stages, you know, learning the ropes, so to speak, of a new medium. I've never used gouache before, or watercolor really, or any of that shit. I've just been a pencil on paper kind of guy, pencil and pen. I started into inks about 5 years ago. I started into penmanship about 10 years or 12 now, 12 years ago. Not calligraphy. I'd like to learn calligraphy, but every aspect of an art has its own buy-in, its own starting point, its own learning curve, level of hours you have to do basic, practice your basics, and then like a basic investment in tools and mediums. So gouache and watercolor for not super expensive ones is a fairly low entry point. Acrylics, I think they tend to have more, you got to be more wary of the toxicity of the materials, and then oils is like the highest entry point. So one day maybe I'll be able to afford to paint in oil paints. But for now, I'll start off working where I can afford to, which is gouache and watercolor. And pencils are cheap. You can work in pencils for an entire lifetime. Charcoal. But then space management and time management is another big part of it. So that's what I've been up to this morning. I had some things on my mind I wanted to discuss with y'all. But as it goes, you get into the moment, and mental ideation, cognitive endeavors, even the scripted ones, seem to take a back seat to the moment. So we are in the throes of the dog days of summer, right at the zenith of it, huh? The worst part of it. How long do we have before the equinox? Just about a month before the equinox. When that that's a good point in time to do fun things, but they have shit all over the world so thoroughly that 2 years now I haven't done any social activity planning. I've just been social distancing and working, you know. Um, didn't want to run the risk of getting involved with the bullshit because of the severity of what they're doing to folks, you know, and the severity of the stormtroopers and the Gestapo marching around 86ing people, and so many people dropping dead from the situation that these folks created, you know, throwing in all these highly speculative installments, you know, shutting the whole thing down and then rewiring it all. It's crazy town out there, so I tend to do my best to ignore it. But you can't do that forever, you know. At some point you need to defy the ban on speech and defy the ban on community. A ban on community. Can you imagine the gall of the global elite to pull such a bullshit racket? And for so many just to be pushovers to it and just fall right in line. You know, as an independent operator, a lone wolf with a small nest in a foreign place, I just gotta, you know, keep to a low profile and be chill. But at the same time, if a law is unjust, not only is a man right to disobey it, it is his obligation to do so. So at some point you got to defy the ban on living. You know, if they're going to put a ban on living, then you got to fight back. You got to do what you got to do. Adonai. I have very little motivation to connect with YouTube and social media because they block the amount of views. You know, they bury anything you create. Unless you're a priority creator, they just bury it. So I'm reaching very few people. So I'm just saying hi to the 2 or 3 people out there that give a fuck. Henry Souza's been tuning in, sending me some messages. Hello, sir, out there in the Everglades. I hope you are doing well. If you see a gator, don't run. You got to stare those motherfuckers down, look him right dead in his slant eye, and be ready to grab him by the fucking mouth or the tail or whatever you got to do to survive an encounter with one of those bad boys, swamp coolers. Those dudes are ferocious. I imagine if you train with the babies enough, you won't be, you know, you'll have the courage and the self-confidence to overcome the lizard. I've been around those, I've been around a similar type of creature. And if you train with them and you're in close proximity, you know, you got a good bushcraft knife. There isn't, with a bushcraft knife, with the right savvy and the right courage, even an unarmed human can defeat a bear. Good luck with that, though. You'd have to be in a place of divine spiritual enlightenment. You know, just don't fight with the bears. The best policy. But I've been in dynamic situations where you're up against, two, three, four, five dudes intent on subduing you, and you can get into that dynamic flow state, and you can overcome all as long as you're in your virtue. I noticed that if you step outside your virtue and still try to perpetrate any type of agenda, then you'll get shut down. But I faced off against the bear and survived. Um, so who else? Charles, Frater Marlowe is out there in Happy Land. I haven't heard from you in a while. It's I believe I owe you an email, but I went into vacation mode, bro, and I seldom check the email. It's already a burden to look at email as it is. It's just one more thing you got to do. So I typically do it when I'm in work mode, career mode, down at the office. That's when I open up the emails. But I should jump on the laptop and get in there and I know that I do owe you an email. So greetings to you. You're probably out hiking right now in the beauty of beloved nature, communing with the horned gods. Oh, I did, man. I was out there for a week. Nearly a week, I think, almost 7 days, 5, 6, 7 days, up in the mountains, visiting various sites. And I wanted to do more. I really wanted to get into the deep wild of it, and so did my son. But it was, the girls holding us back, and the weather warnings, the mudslides and rock falls and avalanches and flooding and all that shit. Which doesn't bother me, I'm not scared of that. I've been among that. I've been among earthquakes and wildfires and tornadoes and hurricanes, and I've been in the belly of the beast more than once, and it's frightening. Oh yeah, definitely. But you survive it. It's exhilarating. Reminds you that you're alive. Only the meat golems get washed away. True niggas never die. They just multiply. Who else is out there in Happy Land? Oh, Sandra Sue, how are you? Hope you are doing well. She actually is connected to me via Facebook, so she gets the original live streaming, as some people do, and is sometimes out in the ideas room, so that's always fun. It's nice to see you. Hope you are doing well out in Happy Land. One of the best parts of Happy Land, really. See, people sometimes, they don't know what they got till they lose it. But when I was in Happy Land, out there where you live, old Sandra Sue, I knew it. I knew that was the fucking... I knew... That's when I woke up and had the realization that no matter where you go, there you are. And you just do your kung fu and your practice, and it doesn't matter where you are. You're gonna enjoy the fruit of your labor. As you reap, so you sow. As you sow, so shall you reap. Right? As above, so below. You got to put in the hard work in order to get the result of your kung fu. So I enjoyed my time in Happy. And I look forward to. I have a romantic dream of retirement in Happy Land, because I got so much land there and property and possessions that hopefully don't get dispersed to the wilds too much. There's some fun stuff I got stored out there in Happy Land, so it's my ultimate goal to be back there for a long golden year of retirement. And I was hoping there'd be other people joining me on that golden shore as well. And some of them have already passed into the abodes of the night. With that innumerable caravan, where each shall take his place in the silent halls of death, just dropping off like flies. I guess, like I said the other day, I guess that's what seems to happen when you get middle age. Some people only make it that far along the journey with you. That's why it's great when you can meet a new fella or gal, lady, but a new fella like you, brother Marlo, um, sister Suzanne, Sandra Suzanne, uh, Soro Suzanne, uh, Frater Souza. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Souza? Henry Souza. And Mr. Souza, how are you? You strike me as I think you would be Italian, sir. Sousa, Souza. That sounds like an Italian name to me. I'm a German-Irish Jew, by the way, for those of you who don't know. Good German stock mixed with Irish and a wee bit of the Jew thrown in there for good measure. So my children have a fun time of it. Their mother's mixed also, which adds another 2 ethnicities to their gene pool. So they're 5, plus they can proudly say that they are American as well. So they're German, Irish, Jew, Chimerican. China, and the China side they have Sichuan, and I always get this one wrong. Is it Hunan or Honan? Hunan. I think it's Hunan. Alrighty, so yeah, look forward to doing that. It's a good day of vacay, a good vacay day. We got a couple weeks of vacay left. I hate when people start talking about, vacay's almost over. My daughter said that the other day, and I'm like, honey, we got still almost a month left. And she's like, yeah, but that ain't shit. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Better, it's more than I ever got in a retail job, Even in management, you got 2 weeks a year as working 80 hours a week as a retail manager. You'd get 2, sometimes 3 weeks a year vacay. Goddamn slave labor. I love y'all good-looking, sexy people out in Happy Land. I hope you stay well. I am your well-wisher, Frank Monday, the Magi of the Agi, coming at you from the ghetto, Beijing, baby, as above, so below, into the abodes of the future. And it says finished broadcast, but you and I both know it ain't never finished.